What does rebuilding look like for you emotionally, socially, or even financially after both divorce and retirement from service?
Rebuilding for me, let's just knock this one out. Financially, I'm set up for life. I'm a 100% disabled veteran and I'm a retiree from the military. So we're cool in that agenda. Spiritually, it's an everyday evolution. It's an everyday greater understanding. It's an everyday um ability to step back and see where I came from to appreciate where I am now. I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but I had co-authored a book back in like 2022. The woman that I am now, I call her Big Nikki. And the
Mhm.
woman that I was, I call her Little Nikki. But I tell people, when I share my testimony, I tell them real quick, I got some little remnants, a little Nikki in my back pocket. So it's like a spades game. I got the big joker. However, in my past, I was quick to whip her out.
Mhm.
Now I'm not as quick to slap her down on the card table because I recognize, you might not, one, you might not be prepared to receive that. Two, I don't want to be that person. And to tie into that, I know how to be the angry black woman
Mm,
very well, too well. But
yeah.
what I've learned is that the angry black woman is really the hurt little girl.
Mm,
So when I embrace Lil Nikki and all that she wanted and why she turned out the way that she did, and recognize how Big Nikki emulates the little Nikki, I can say, little girl, it's okay. It's okay to be hurt. It's amazing that you have mentioned therapy. Let me for all of our black people, men and women, listen, are you listening? Therapy, prayer is beautiful. Pray, pray while you're going to therapy, sweetie. Pray while you pulling into the parking lot. Pray while you putting your car in park and you're walking into your appointment, okay? Prayer and therapy, they go together. It's a collective agenda.
amen to that.
Now that I've put that in the atmosphere, during the course of my therapy, I realized, just like you said, a lot of these things are not, it's not my baggage. It's not my bag. This ain't my suitcase. I got a whole 6 suitcase set in the closet of my own. But in a couple closets, I got something that my grandma left. I got something that her mama left. I got something that my mama left. I got something that my daddy left. Was it mine? No. Have I manifested it? Absolutely. Am I taking ownership of not only my mess, the mess that I projected onto others and the way forward? So my son and my grandchildren, they gonna have 2 or 3 of their own, but I don't want them to have nothing of mine. I don't want them to have anything of mine. So, um, the spiritual aspect, the mental aspect, I'm very transparent and vocal when it comes to speaking with my grandsons. I have a 17-year-old, I have a 14-year-old, and I have a 9-year-old. And, with my son, he'll be 35 in October. When he turned 25, I literally had a conversation the same way I'm speaking with you, very transparent and very open, because I don't want him going forward into his manhood with anything, no residuals. I
Yeah.
don't want no residuals. I don't
Mhm,
want you to have no residuals because I didn't do my part. So
mhm.
I'm very in tune to doing my part, because again, a lot of people, are selfish minded. How is this going to make me better? God blesses you to bless somebody else.
Mhm,
So
that's
the
right.
blessings that I have received, this ain't for Nikki. This is for somebody else, that man, that woman, my child, my grandchildren. This is for when I leave this earth, something should fall off of my bloodline.
Yep. Yeah.
Something generationally that was impacting my bloodline should fall off. That is my purpose.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I'm very in tune to that. So my mind, my heart, my body, my soul, my work until God calls me home. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to operate in my purpose. I'm going to function in my purpose, and I'm going to continue to go to therapy.
Yeah, love it. Gotta love the therapy, gotta love it.
Yes.
Love it. Yeah, my wife and I, last year, I think maybe it's been 2 years ago, I think, but we had our marriage therapist and we had our individual therapist. And then, eventually we end up having to get new therapists and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
just to have your individual therapist and then your marriage therapist, like that's a beautiful thing because your marriage deal with a set of issues, but then there's issues that you dealing with personally.
Right.
So it just helps. So yeah, we all about that therapy. What advice would you give to other Black women, especially those and or going or coming out of the military who may feel broken or unseen after divorce?
I would tell my sisters that recognize the areas that you have not healed yet. Recognize the areas that you masked. Recognize the areas that the military allowed you to mask.
Mm,
That uniform and that hat, it's a powerful thing.
yeah.
It's a powerful thing. Um, and it goes back to my initial therapy session. I refused to embrace the fact that I had PTSD, and my therapist told me, I need you to come in here in civilian clothes. Because I would go
Mm,
to my therapy sessions in my uniform. Who's finna mess with the big E7, the Sergeant First Class? Nobody. No,
mm,
what is we talking about? And she was like, and I'm not come in your civilian clothes. And she told my supervisor that I had to come in my because it's during the work day. Who's just changing from all of that military boots and stuff into some civilian clothes to put your uniform back on to go back to work? I'm not doing that, ma'am.
yeah.
And when I came in my civilian clothes, she said, now talk to me. And it was at that moment that it just all came out. Like I broke down crying and it was like a weight was lifting off of me. So again, back to your question, recognize the things that that military uniform is allowing you to cover up. The things that are honorable and whatnot in the military, it's a crutch out here in the civilian world. And it can be damaging. It can be, I don't want to use the word damaging. It can be harmful and hurtful with you going forward as in relating to yourself and relating to others. I'm still learning how to take my mean mug off. I'm very stoic. I'm not mean. However, I've been very stern. I've been very curt. I've been very tactful, and I don't need to be like that all the time. So learn and understand when you can dial back, when it's okay to dial back. And am I saying sniggle and giggle in everyone's face? Absolutely not. What I'm saying is we don't have to be as hard and as competitive natured as we did in the military.
Mm,
Stay tapped into the discipline because out here in these civilian streets, a lot of that is lacking. However, share your testimony. Share that's another pivotal part. Get comfortable enough with yourself and your testimony to where you don't have a problem sharing, to where it's free edifying you when you do share because you know that that's healing you as well. That's part of that therapy thing. Sharing your testimony with somebody else is therapeutic for not only them, but it's also therapeutic for you as well. So
mm,
yes, my ladies, my sisters that are going to inevitably get out of the military, just tap into those areas and recognize that there's greater on the other side. Don't leave everything that you got from the military in the military. However, recognize the different areas that you can utilize and going forward, they can still be used out here in the civilian world for your healing and your understanding of self and others.
mm. Yeah, that's good. I love it. Yeah, I want to switch gears a little bit. So,
Not
uh,
switch ears.
so I have this is gonna be like Nikki Uncut. So there's no wrong answers. These are random questions that I just want to ask.
Okay.
So I got a couple of them. Okay. So what's the biggest mistake you see women make when it comes to dating?
Man, one of the biggest mistakes that I see women make when it comes to dating is the blame game. They blame him for everything and don't take ownership of their own thing. And it's not even in that whole secular thing of it's 50-50. It's absolutely not. It's a 100 and it's a 100. And I think a lot of that has to also do with we weren't taught, we've been taught how to be strong, how to be resilient. We really haven't been taught how to speak to his king even when he's doing peasant things. Even when he's out here, bruh, I know you know better. However, comma, I still see the crown. I still see the crown. So, and I'm not talking, please don't misconstrue. I'm not talking about getting cheated on. I'm not talking about physical abuse. I'm not talking about verbal abuse. I'm talking about things where you asked him to take out the trash and he forgot about it. I'm talking about he done left the toilet seat up and didn't put it down. I'm talking about them little nicky picky wicky things that you let it go 59,000 times, and on that 600th time now you want to explode. Be able to still recognize the king in him in spite of, not because of. That's my nomenclature for like the past 6 months. In spite of, because the in spite of will allow you to recognize the flaws. It will allow you to recognize the shortcomings. And sweetie, I'm gonna need you to recognize those in yourself too. Recognize them in your and say, you know what, babe? I jacked that up. I messed that up. I ain't right. I ain't do the right thing. But what's the way forward? What's
Mhm.
the way forward? So that's a lot of that, especially in the Black culture. We didn't been trained to be a little too strong.
Yeah.
The strong is overrated sometimes. Like, I just want to can I just be soft and supple? Like my trainer is a boxer. And he's always trying to get me in a ring. And I'm like, sweetie, I'm in my feminine era right now. I know how to be in my masculine era, but just let me be soft for a little bit. Like, just let me be a woman. Not that boxing is effeminate, but
Right.
it's just not something that, I want to be so I want to be cool with being not hard,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we haven't been taught that. We've been taught persevere, keep doing it,
Mhm.
in the absence of. And that's cool. But if your heart's desire is to be a wife, then that ain't your role. That ain't your role.
Say
You
it.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, nothing better than a feminine woman. Like a feminine woman is like it's beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
But I understand, like you say, life sometimes it gets hard and all this other stuff. But yeah, but seeing like a feminine woman is unmatched. So yes, I hear you. Then fill in the blank. My last relationship taught me.
My last relationship taught me that I still had some healing to do, that I still had some healing to do and some growing to do. However, to his advantage, it also taught me that he ain't always wrong. He's not always wrong. He's not always wrong. And a lot of times in that, it's not even about his inability to address his wrong or my inability to recognize the wrong. It's my inability to recognize how his wrongdoing may have impacted me and how my wrongdoing may have impacted him. And again, I'm not talking about the heavy hitters. I'm not talking about infidelity. I'm talking about those little, I call them chihuahua moments, them little nitpicky ankle bitery things that just get on your nerves
Yeah,
and you don't know how to communicate properly. So now it's become a thing when all it had to be was a conversation, and being able to express, this is what you did. This is the way that it impacted me. Now, what's the way forward? I ain't mad at you. I still love you. But it just made me feel some type of way.
yeah,
It made me feel some type of way. And receiving that from him too, babe.
yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday, you remember you had did this. I've thought about it, this Thursday night, and this is how it made me feel. And you not like, what? Why you ain't say something on Tuesday?
Right.
I respect that. It was not my intent versus impact. It was never my intent to make you feel that way. However, what can we do to make this better going forward for the both of us?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that because it's more palatable when you say, I feel opposed to you. As soon as you say you,
Exactly.
it's over,
It's already Duke's up. What's
Yep.
up? Let's get it in.
Yep, you already you cocked and loaded. I mean, you ready. It's like, no, it's like I feel. This is, I feel. It's the I statements. You do those, it
Right.
it takes a little
Right.
little pressure off the steamer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
And I think, not I think, there's something that I was taught in the military that I also another thing that I brought with me, don't ask why questions. Why questions automatically put people in a position to where they feel like they need to defend their
yeah, yeah,
position. So
yeah.
learn how to use your words. Why do you have on that red shirt? Because I wanted to wear that red shirt. Well, I didn't mean to,
I
what
think
was your thought process in picking out that red shirt? Now you like, well, I thought this shirt was cute. You know what
mm,
I'm saying? It was by the black shirt. I was gonna pick the black one, but I picked the red one. Now you feeling like, mate versus opponent. So
yeah,
I've taken why even my grandchildren know this. My 9-year-old, he'll be like, why? Wait, Gma, I know you don't like why questions. And then he'll think about it and then he'll reword it to where you're not coming across as you're trying to make me defend my position. Now you want understanding because again, in all thy getting,
get
get an
understanding.
understanding.
Yeah, amen to that. Yeah. I will, and I love what you said. I will ask myself why am I feeling this way? So if my wife do something that bothers me, first my process, Sean, why is that bothering you?
Yeah.
Why? Because a lot of times we fail to realize that that's our own pain. Why is that bothering you? Why is it that this bothers you opposed to that not bothering you? And that's what causes those conversations because you're like,
Absolutely.
so no, I agree because I had to ask myself, Sean, why are you feeling like this?
Yeah, why is it triggering me? What is going
Yeah.
It ain't got nothing to do with her or him. That's you. That's you.
Yeah.
Deal
Yeah.
with you.
Yep.
Okay, let me go ahead and go back to the drawing board and rethink this. What is it? What happened? Oh, yeah, because when I was a little girl, my dad said he was going to come and get me, and he didn't. And now he said he was going to do something, and he didn't. So now it's making me feel like my dad did when I was a little girl. That ain't his issue, sweetie. That's yours. That's your baggage.
And you gotta be okay with opening that bag and unpack some
Exactly.
things.
Exactly.
Who makes a better spouse? Someone never married or someone divorced?
Oh my goodness. I'm stunned. Think either or would make a better or a worse spouse. One is coming in with some knowledge. However, that knowledge may not be to the betterment of, it could be, I want to use my words wisely. It could have been a detrimental piece at the time of the marriage. However, in learning and growing and understanding, now it could be a tool for the betterment of their new marriage.
Mm,
A person that has never been married, they are coming in with a clean slate. So everything is fresh and new. Everything is wonderful and beautiful. It's so romantic. However, if they haven't put in that work in order to recognize the covenant piece versus what the secular world is trying to throw at us, then that too could be a detriment versus being something that could be a positive. So I don't think either one has an upper hand,
mhm.
over anybody. I see a lot of posts talking about, it's people out here that's trying to give advice to married people that ain't, been married or never been. Well, as a divorcee, I come with some experience. Granted, my experience might not be the best during that time I was married. However, in getting to know me now, that was a definite part of my journey that I can utilize and speak on going forward.
Well, yeah.
But
Oh,
on the same note, I'm not looking at someone that's never been married like, child, they don't know what they talking about. They don't know what's going on. Because prayerfully, they've taken the steps, as far as self-regulation, self-governing,
yeah.
therapy, getting to, get a greater understanding of their self and their singlehood so that when they do come into covenant, they don't have to go through all of the rigmarole and the craziness that a lot of new couples have to go through.
Yeah, amen to that. Because a lot of times when you get a lot of newlyweds, they struggling with how do we bring these households that we grew up in and bring them into one household. Like, how do we make this work now? Because the way I grew up and the way you grew up are totally different. Now, how can we make
Absolutely.
that gel together in one household? And so that can cause some friction. I totally agree. Last question. Is it easier to love yourself or someone else?
It's easier to love myself because before I can love anybody else, I have to, in loving myself, I know exactly what love is. Because in loving myself, accepting my flaws, I have to extend myself grace. If I can't extend myself grace, me extending somebody else grace is a no go. That's little Nikki era. Those are little Nikki things. No, I'm not doing it, but I don't like myself. It goes back to, the Bible says we're supposed to love our neighbor. If you don't love you, how are you going to execute this biblical mandate?
Yes.
So that's all a part of, it everything starts with self. And again, I push it. The single season is important. The single season might be more important than your covenant moment because the single season is where you can operate and do things that are mainly going to impact you maybe positively and or negatively. However, again, if your heart's desire is to be a spouse, then going forward, you recognize that those growth spurts and those learning curves are for the betterment of not only you, but your spouse as well.
Mm,
So, yeah, I love me wholeheartedly. I don't know who my future spouse is. I love him now, but it has to start with the big dog. It has to start with Big Nikki first. And, the prayer is that he's working. I ain't even gonna say that. I know God is working on him. He's working on him while he's working on me so we can come in this thing better together. So yeah, I do believe that in loving me first, that has to be a formality. That's how you don't create false idols. You
yes.
know, because me sitting up here talking about, oh, I love my future spouse, and I'm still dogging myself.
Mhm.
No, because he don't deserve that. He doesn't deserve that. Yeah. So he deserves the best version of me. So in order for him to get the best version of me, I got to love on me. I
Mm.
got to love on me.
That's good. Wow. That's good. Well, Nikki, this has been a phenomenal episode. Thank you once again for being a guest today. Before we end the show, well, after we end the show, make sure you stay on. So don't hang up yet. But Brave Hearts community, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Share this with a friend. You never know who might need great information and all these wisdom bombs that Nikki dropped tonight. You just never know. So as I always say, not only do you like and share, but put it in your group chat, share it with your friends, and then y'all come back into the group chat and y'all talk about this episode. So that's what I need y'all to do. Also, if you are listening via podcast, leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. By doing so, it puts you in a drawing for a free Amazon gift card. Who doesn't like free stuff? So this is Sean Heineman with my special guest, Nikki. She was phenomenal. Thank you once again for joining us. And
You're
we,
welcome. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
no problem. We are out.